Hello again, folks. Skullgrim140 back for pretty much the last video of the year, for me at least. This is the video that I said I would do in the vlog that I did a few days ago, which is I guess the sort of roundup as well as a look back on 2012, just to see how it has gone and the things that have happened that have made this year what it is. And let's see, 2012. It's been a very weird year, actually, for me at least. I don't know how anybody else feels any differently about this year, but for me it's been kind of a little bit of a mixed bag. Where to really start? Because there are a lot of things about this year that I can say have been bad, and there are some things in this year that I can say have been very good, that have been a highlight of my year. I'll try to at least not cram it all into one go, just so I can keep this a little bit of a comprehensive analysis of this year as it's gone by so far. Really, what can I say except 2012 has been a very weird year. It hasn't been a great year. It's been a good year, but it hasn't been what a lot of people could consider a great year. There have been some things that have made this year special, and there have been some things that have made this year somewhat disappointing. And I think the best way to really describe this year is it's been a mixed bag. Some good things, some bad things. It's weighing out in whatever way you want to see it as. And for me, I think that this year it's been an okay year, in that things have made this year quite special for me and a lot of other people. People have come and have sadly gone throughout this year, as sad as it is. And that's really no one's fault about that, but what can you do? And other than that, I think this year has been... It's been an okay year. It hasn't been a great year, but I think that there are some things that could have made this year a bit better, but I don't want to dwell too much on that. So let's quickly look back on this year, at least from how I see it as. This year really has actually had quite a few things happening. In the Series 2 of Transformers Prime came along, and while I think that Transformers Prime has been a little bit of an underwhelming letdown in some parts, it has turned out to be quite a very good show. And with the show ending on, with Season 2 ending on a big cliffhanger, it's made it very, very good. And I think that if Beast Hunters, the Series 3 of Transformers Prime, when that comes along and manages to at least make the story much more, I would say evenly rounded, I think, in terms of bringing the story to a close in a much more climactic way, and answering some questions. But whatever Series 3 Beast Hunters will do, I'm looking forward to that. But for the most part, Transformers Prime has had its ups and downs, in that it's taken a lot of time to build up to something, and in the run of the episodes that Series 2 has had, it has lacked something of a core plot, which is what the show seems to be doing, which the show seems to not have a great deal of. And really, and maybe I'm the only one that thinks this, but Prime, and I said this a little while ago, Prime, I thought, was kind of wasting its time when it came to telling a certain degree of stories. And the problem I think that Prime did have for the most part was it had a lack of character introduction in some parts. But then again, that's understandable, because it's a cast that's pared right down, and it's good that it's pared right down, because at least that way we get to develop those characters properly. But I think the problem with Prime, well, at least from the way I see it, is with Prime, it kind of had a little bit of a lack of characters that weren't introduced. But until Smokescreen came along, which kind of made the show a little bit better, I think. And honestly, Smokescreen, I think, was probably the best thing that I think Prime could have had. And I think it really could at least increase the amount of characters that Beast Hunters will probably have. So Prime, in a nutshell, it's got a few problems, and why wouldn't it? But I think it's building up to something really good, and as long as it keeps, at least it keeps building up that suspenseful theme to it, which is what the show really is doing quite well, a good job of, then we could have a really interesting conclusion afterwards. Going off of Transformers just a second, because this is something that I really wanted to get out of the way. 2012 also saw the abrupt cancellation of the recent Thundercats cartoon. Okay, long story short, Thundercats got rebooted quite recently, and it ran quite well for a couple of episodes, and then the finale just ended, and after that we heard the Thundercats was kind of dead. The reboot's kind of really dead, and it hasn't done well ever since. And I think the reason for the cancellation was partially due to the fact that, as promising as the reboot of Thundercats was, and don't get me wrong, it was a promising idea to reboot a franchise like Thundercats that hasn't been seen in quite a while. The recent series lacked any advertisement for any of the toys, because there were toys, but I get the feeling that not many people were buying them. And here's the thing, is that when you're rebooting something that's an old product, like Transformers or Thundercats or even G.I. Joe, you want to at least make sure that you have some, what's the right word? Advertisement for the toys that you bring out, because when you have a show, you want to at least advertise your toys so that people will go out, or so that children will go out and buy them, and so that the shows have some chance of surviving, because that's kind of really what happened to G.I. Joe Renegades. And I know I don't want to dwell too much on G.I. Joe Renegades about this, but G.I. Joe Renegades came along. Throughout that run of the show, there were no toys to back up the sales. And this year, we were going to see the release of the movie G.I. Joe Retaliation, but then the release date got delayed for next year, which is kind of annoying, because obvious reasons. But yeah, G.I. Joe Renegades ended. The toys didn't come out till after the show had ended, which is kind of silly, because the first thing you need to do when you have a show is hold something up with toys so that it sells much more easier, I think. But yeah, G.I. Joe Renegades, Thundercats kind of suffered the same fate as G.I. Joe Renegades. It was a good, promising series, a very promising reboot that ended on a big cliffhanger, and it was at the point when things were just getting good. It's kind of the same thing with Transformers Animated. There have been rumors going around that the reboot of Thundercats will continue for next year, but I'm not really holding out any hope for it. There was a lot of things that I liked about this reboot, but I feel that that it kind of really missed that window of opportunity to really just be what a cartoon could be, I think. Don't get me wrong, I still liked it. It had a lot of potential, but it came and went, and without really anyone noticing. And going off of Transformers again, talking about other things, Legend of Korra, a great show, a great continuation of Avatar: The Last Airbender. It's a wonderful, wonderful series. Looking forward to book 2 in next year. And aside from Transformers and all that other things, Ninja Turtles got rebooted, and Ninja Turtles, the new Ninja Turtles cartoon, is fantastic. The one thing I like about it is that it's it's sticking quite close to the origins of the Mirage comics, and it really does feel like this year has been a bit of a mixed bag for cartoons. We've seen 80s reboots come and go. Transformers still going, surprisingly, and Ninja Turtles, I hope, will last longer than that. And the show is really, really good. The writing is fantastic. Voice acting is very good. The show is what you can expect it to be. It's building up something really good, and I hope it keeps doing that. And yeah, so that's pretty much the whole little roundup for me, I think, regarding the cartoons, and that I think that it's been a mixed bag from different cartoons. There have been cartoons that have come and gone, but I think it just feels a little bit unfair that a lot of them really didn't survive that long, but that's how it is. And other than the few highlights that came out this year, these 3 being one of them, well, this 3 being a set of them, actually, one of them, sorry. Out of all the things that have happened this year, these have been pretty much my highlights of the year. This game, in particular, Transformers Fall Cybertron, I thoroughly enjoyed this game. This game, I think, to me, for this year, really has been a very good example of taking a very well-known franchise and putting it in another different setting that acts just more as a throwback to the original G1 cartoon, the original G1 series. And the problem is, though, and this is the biggest problem that I think really that this could have actually had, as great as this game was, it didn't sell too well, which is why we sadly won't get a sequel to this, a Transformers Battle for Earth. So this is it. This is pretty much the last good Transformers game that we will ever see until somebody decides to do something very similar like this. From this point on, we'll probably just get nothing but movie tie-ins, and that's really it. So, what else more can I say about this game? I thought this game was fantastic. From a storytelling standpoint, it's got a few problems, but from a gameplay and visual standpoint, it's fucking amazing. I love this game simply because it managed to do pretty much what Transformers always has been, which is, aside from just be a series that promotes toys, etc., etc., you have all these characters in this game, and each of them are played out as they are, and we get to see their adventures before they end up coming to Earth. And from a visual standpoint, the designs of the characters, well, they're a little bit of a mixed bag, with Optimus Prime being the worst, are in fact really good. The designs for them, I love the designs for this a little bit more than how the movie designs really are, unfortunately. I do like the movie designs for Transformers, but whatever. So, yeah, this game has been really good. Other than that, these two, love the Dark Knight Rises, love Darksiders 2, so that's really all I can say about that. And what else can I talk about for this, this particular video, this particular subject of looking back on 2012? Really, it has been a bit of a mixed bag. There have been some good things, and there have been some bad things. And Transformers, with it being what it is, Prime is coming to an end, unfortunately, but that will be at least okay, because once Prime's done and dusted, we'll probably see... I get the feeling we'll probably see a new cartoon come around the end of next year, so we've got quite a wait for a little while. Oh, and just to bring this up, I know I'm a little bit late to the party when it comes to this, but I finally started reading Transformers Regeneration 1, the current issues that I've got. At some point I will get the rest of the current series at the moment, but I'm thoroughly enjoying Regeneration 1 a lot, because of all the IDW comics that Transformers going for at the moment, this one I'm thoroughly enjoying the most, because it's a continuation of the original Marvel run from the 80s to about the beginning of the 90s. And even though it kind of really, what's the word? Although it pretty much just takes Generation 2 out of the continuity, I think that this series does the Generation 1 some justice. It's a fantastic way of continuing the story. The art style for the comic is very, very good. It's a great nostalgic look to it, very, very reminiscent of how the original Marvel comics looked, with a little bit of digital colouring added to it, to just keep it with the times, I guess. The writing, Simon Farrell, more do you want? But this has been a really promising series. I couldn't have been any more happier with the comic that I've read this year. So I will at some point next year do a review of this series when I get the full set, just to let you know how I feel about it, because I've been looking forward to this for quite a while. And as good as everyone says the current run of Transformers of IDW is, I've got no interest in reading it. It's just not my thing. So that's really all I can say about that. So yeah, Transformers Generation 1 is pretty much a good continuation of the original Generation 1 comics, so there you go. Other than that, this year has had some good things coming out of it. Auto Assembly 2012 was, I think, a very successful convention, and with more people, with greater guests, and I get the feeling that 2013 will be just as good, I think. Because we have people like Steve Blow and Dan Gilves and Neil Kaplan coming for next year's Auto Assembly. That should be pretty good. The Auto Assembly this year it's getting better. With each year, it's getting better. The more people, the more successful the convention becomes. And to anybody who lives overseas, try and make it for next year. Try and make it for next year and experience just how us Brits handle a Transformers convention. I'm not saying that we're better than BotCon. I will never say that, because each convention is different in their own unique way. BotCon has its thing, Auto Assembly has its thing. Other conventions have their own way of doing things. And it's not a fucking competition to see which convention is better. It's just a way of saying we can do... okay, you have a convention, we can do one as well, that sort of thing. And plus, it's all for charity at the end of the day, so that's pretty good. But yeah, anyone living overseas, I mean, my watchers who overseas, come to Autossembly next year because it'll be a lot of fun. What else can I say about this year that has made me surprised from this year? Really, no, there's not much I can say except 2012 has been it has been a decent year, and I hope that 2013 will be just as good, because Transformers-wise, Prime's still going, but at the moment I'm not really collecting any other toys at the moment, because, and I've said this already, the Prime toys, with the exception of the two that I've currently got, are just not interesting. And the thing is, with the quality of toys going down because of the oil prices, apparently, we are seeing the end of top-notch, good quality figures, with the exception of the Masterpiece figures that are mainly aimed for adult collectors who want to experience better quality toys than they had them when they were children, and that's fine. But the toys at the moment, I'm only just sticking with one series at the moment. That's the Generations line. So, and if anything else that I really want, I will probably get as well. But other than that, I really can't be bothered to get any more Prime figures, because at the moment I've already got enough. So until at least I get some of the Generations figures that I really want that have been showcased this year that are coming out next year, like Ultra Magnus, which that toy looks really, really good. And here's the thing as well. In Fall of Cybertron, Optimus Prime's design is really, really terrible. And there's one particular reason why, and I don't know if you can see it clearly or not on this, but okay. The reason why, and I'm just going to draw on this quickly, the reason why is because Optimus Prime's design in Fall of Cybertron is not very recognizable, and the main reason why is because the main reason why anyone would recognize this character is not only for the head, but because the chest windows. That's the one main thing that makes this character stand out for a lot of people. And this mold works much better for Ultra Magnus, I think. And plus the toy is small. It's a small size figure, so it's fine, I guess. I wish it could be better, but quality is hard nowadays to make good toys. And at the moment, distribution in the UK is not doing very well because we still have the same old boring crap. So that's probably why. And since I live in a country where I think from this point on, until you go to somewhere very specific, we will end up seeing mostly nothing but movie figures. Well, until the fourth film comes out in 2014, which I guess is okay, I suppose. Yeah, but other than that, 2012 has been a very mixed year, but 2013 I really hope is a good year. But here's the thing. One last thing. Everyone seems to think that the world is going to end on December the 21st of 2012. I don't, personally. Everyone's going a little bit out of shape and saying it's the end of the world, the rapture, and if you remember last year, there was a rapture thing happening last year in October. Nothing happened. So there's a slight chance that nothing will happen on the 21st of December. I think it's just a way of saying, okay, scare people with the whole Mayan calendar thing. It's just a way to get people riled up. I honestly don't care. If something happens, and I really don't think it will, the least we could expect to happen, the most absurd thing that can happen on the 21st of December, is it starts raining bread. For hours. It starts raining bread until we're up to our ankles, until we're up to our knees in bread. Well, at least it will keep the birds hungry though, because you can't have too much bread. You can never have too much bread. That or the electricity will go off for about an hour, and we all end up doing nothing for about an hour. But then again, without electricity though, we would end up trying to kill each other. And that's what's kind of interesting, is that we as the human race have to rely on power sources to keep our lives running. We can't just resort to what cavemen used, which was lighting a fire with just 2 sticks. So, but yeah, 2012 has been, for me, honestly, it has been a good year. There have been some bad things about it, but other than that, I won't dwell on those too much, because it's good to forget the bad and move on with the good, to make the year that is special for you. And I think this year, assuming if the world doesn't end, the year will end well as it began. So, and plus, 2013, I have a lot of hopes for 2013. Or at least I will at least find a job by then. But for me, I'm looking forward to 2013. I'm just going in feet first into the fire, not knowing what's going to happen, and just let what happens when you least expect it to happen. And that's what pretty much everyone should do. But really, there you go. That's pretty much my little roundup of this year. It's not great, but to wrap this up, thank you to everyone who has subscribed to me over this year. Thank you to everyone who has liked and commented on most of my videos, and who still watches most of the stuff that I still do. I might not be the best, but what are you going to do? And other than that, this year has been a pretty good year. So other than that, just to wrap this up quickly, Merry Christmas. I hope everyone has a safe and happy holidays. Merry Christmas. And I really mean that when I say have a wonderful, wonderful Christmas, everybody, from the UK to America to all over the internet. I hope everyone all over the world has a safe and happy holiday. Merry Christmas, and I shall see you all in 2013. Take care, everybody.